What you're about to witness will shatter everything you think you know about justice. Because when 17-year-old Marcus shoved that frail old man off the park bench, laughing as his friends recorded it for social media clout, he had absolutely no idea that this wasn't just any random elderly person. This was someone whose past would come back to haunt him in the most unexpected way imaginable. And trust me, what happens next will leave you speechless. It was a typical Saturday afternoon at Riverside Park when Marcus and his crew spotted the old man sitting alone, feeding pigeons with trembling hands, his worn jacket barely keeping him warm against the autumn breeze, and Marcus, always looking for his next viral moment, saw an easy target. Someone who couldn't fight back, someone who would make his followers laugh and boost his engagement. So he approached with that arrogant smirk plastered across his face, his phone already recording, and what he did next was absolutely disgusting. "Hey, old man, this is our bench, get lost," Marcus sneered. But the elderly man, who we'll soon learn is named Robert, simply looked up with tired, watery blue eyes and quietly said he'd been sitting there for years, feeding the birds every Saturday, a tradition he'd kept since his wife passed away. But Marcus didn't care about sob stories. He wanted content. He wanted views. So he grabbed Robert's bag of birdseed and threw it across the grass, then shoved the old man hard enough to send him tumbling to the ground. And the worst part was the laughter, the cruel, heartless laughter from Marcus and his friends as Robert struggled to get up, his arthritic hands shaking as he tried to gather his dignity along with the scattered birdseed. The video went viral instantly, racking up thousands of views, comments flooding in with angry emojis and outraged responses. But Marcus didn't care. He was trending. He was getting the attention he craved. Until 3 days later, when a black SUV pulled up to his house and two men in suits knocked on his door. And when Marcus answered, cocky as ever, they asked one simple question that drained the color from his face. "Do you know who Robert Mitchell is?" Marcus shrugged, said he didn't know and didn't care, just some random old guy at the park. But then one of the men pulled out a badge, FBI, and suddenly the room started spinning, because these weren't just any agents. They were investigating something much bigger than a viral video. Turns out Robert Mitchell wasn't just a lonely old man feeding pigeons. He was a retired undercover agent who had spent 40 years infiltrating organized crime syndicates, putting away some of the most dangerous criminals in American history. And the reason he fed those pigeons every Saturday wasn't just about remembering his wife. It was his way of maintaining a routine after decades of living in constant danger, a simple act of peace in a life that had seen unimaginable violence. And now Marcus had put him in the spotlight, exposed his face to millions of people online, including some very dangerous individuals who had been searching for Robert for years, seeking revenge for their imprisoned family members. The agents explained that within hours of Marcus's video going viral, they detected chatter on dark web forums, people recognizing Robert, sharing his location, planning retribution. And now Robert had to be relocated into witness protection for the third time in his life, forced to abandon the one place that brought him comfort, the one connection he had left to his deceased wife, all because some teenager wanted internet fame. Marcus felt his stomach drop. His hands went numb, and for the first time in his life, he understood that actions have consequences. Real consequences that extend far beyond likes and comments. But the story doesn't end there, not even close, because what the agents told him next would change everything. "There's more you need to know," the older agent said, his voice grave. "Robert Mitchell specifically requested that we don't press charges against you. He said you're just a kid who made a terrible mistake, and he's seen enough lives ruined to not want to add yours to the list. But he did have one condition." Marcus could barely speak, his throat tight with guilt and fear, and he managed to whisper, "What condition?" The agent leaned forward and said, He wants you to spend the next 6 months volunteering at the Veterans Care Facility, where he used to visit every week helping elderly people who can't help themselves, learning their stories, understanding that every person you see has a history, has value, has dignity that deserves respect, and if you complete this, no charges will be filed, but if you refuse or quit, you'll face federal charges for endangering a protected witness. Marcus wanted to protest, wanted to say it wasn't fair, but deep down he knew he deserved worse, so he agreed. And that following Monday, he showed up at Greenwood Veterans Care Facility expecting to hate every second, expecting to just go through the motions until his sentence was served. But then he met Eleanor, a 92-year-old woman who had been a nurse in World War II, and Thomas, an 87-year-old man who had fought in Vietnam and now couldn't remember his own children's names, but could recite poetry from memory, and Sarah, a 79-year-old former teacher who lit up whenever someone read to her because her eyesight was failing. Week after week, Marcus showed up, and something inside him began to shift. The walls he'd built around his heart, the callousness he'd developed from living in a world that valued clicks over compassion, started to crumble, and he found himself actually caring about these people, looking forward to hearing their stories, laughing at their jokes, holding their hands when they felt scared or alone, and for the first time in his life, he felt like he mattered for something real. Something that couldn't be measured in followers or engagement metrics. 3 months into his service, Marcus received a letter, no return address, just his name written in shaky handwriting. And when he opened it, he found a single page that read, "Dear Marcus, I heard you've been keeping your promise. Eleanor told me you visit her every Tuesday and Thursday, that you've become her favorite person to talk to. She says you remind her of her grandson who passed away years ago, and that means more to me than you'll ever know, because Eleanor was my wife's best friend. They served together in the war, and knowing someone is bringing her joy in her final years gives me peace. I'm writing to tell you that I forgive you, not because what you did was okay, but because I've learned that holding on to anger only poisons your own soul, and I've seen too much poison in this world already. You're young, Marcus. You made a mistake, a big one, but mistakes don't have to define us. It's what we do after the mistake that shows who we really are, and from what I hear, you're becoming someone worth being proud of. I won't be returning to Riverside Park. My new life is elsewhere now, but I'll carry the memories of those Saturday mornings with me wherever I go. And maybe, just maybe, some good came from all of this because it led you to find your purpose. Keep taking care of them, Marcus. They need people like you, people who see them as human beings with stories worth hearing, not just old faces in a facility. Sincerely, Robert Mitchell." Marcus read that letter 5 times, tears streaming down his face, and he realized that karma hadn't just been watching that day at the park. Karma had been teaching him the most important lesson of his life, that every person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. That cruelty might get you temporary attention, but compassion builds a legacy, and that true strength isn't found in tearing others down, but in lifting them up. He continued volunteering long after his 6 months were complete, eventually becoming a full-time employee at the facility, going back to school to study social work, dedicating his life to helping those society often overlooks. And years later, when Eleanor passed away peacefully in her sleep, Marcus was there holding her hand. And among her belongings, they found a photo she'd kept by her bedside. It was a picture of Marcus and Eleanor together, smiling, and on the back she'd written, "My honorary grandson, proof that people can change, proof that love wins." Marcus deleted all his old social media accounts, the viral videos, the clout-chasing posts. None of it mattered anymore, and he started a new channel, not for fame, but to share the stories of the elderly people he worked with, giving them the platform they deserved, the recognition for their sacrifices, their wisdom, their humanity, and slowly but surely, his message spread, inspiring others to look up from their screens and actually see the people around them. So if this story moved you, if it made you think twice about how you treat others, if it reminded you that everyone has a story worth knowing, then do me a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe to this channel so you never miss another story that might change your perspective, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Because the world needs more people who choose compassion over cruelty, who understand that the content we create should build up humanity, not tear it down. And together, we can make sure that karma doesn't have to teach us the hard way. We can choose to learn, to grow, to be better, starting right now. So hit that subscribe button, drop a comment telling me what you learned from Marcus's story, and let's create a community that values real human connection over viral moments. Because that's what truly matters, that's what changes lives, and that's how we make the world a better place. One act of kindness at a time.